All right. Yes, I'm here with my good friend and colleague, Nani Vazana. She's a singer-songwriter and a great expert on mic technique. So this is what we're going to talk about today. She's going to teach me how to do it. And she's going to teach you how to handle the microphone if you don't want to embarrass yourself in concert. So Nani, can you tell us a little bit about your relationship with the mic? How much are you performing? Where are you performing? And what are you doing right now?
Hi, Lenore. Thank you for having me. So I'm a singer-songwriter and I play internationally about 120 plus concerts a year, all over the world.
What?
So I just did a tour in the States and now we're doing a tour of Europe. In May, we're going to go to Korea. So it's a lot of fun.
It's probably easier to ask you where you haven't been.
Well, I don't know. I mean, Australia and Antarctica and South America. I've been singing with a microphone since I was 5, but it took me about, I think, 12 or 13 years to get used to it, so I won't hate it. Because when I
Why did you
started
hate
out,
it?
well, the thing is, when you record your voice, it's not necessarily sounding to you the way your voice normally sounds like. So there's a lot of people feel aversion to that voice because they don't recognize themselves. And also, it's intimidating to hear all the mistakes that are being amplified by the microphone. You hear everything clearer and stronger and more emphasized when you speak with a microphone. And of course, there's the self-awareness part that do you actually love your voice? What is your relationship to your voice? I feel that throughout the years, we both went to the same music school. When we studied how to coach our voices, we learned a lot about ourselves. So I think this is also part of the journey of getting to know yourself better and knowing how to express yourself in the best way possible. So the microphone technique is big part of that.
What led me to you as a mic expert with my own students was just an experience that we had one time with a student concert. And one of my students, who's actually one of the better ones, who has a great voice and a relatively good technique, she went on stage. She had the mic on a stand. She stood close to the mic, and then she blasted this, what was supposed to be incredible belting. And then ended up with everybody wanting to run away and hide because she just blew up the microphone completely. And then I realized, oh, we don't know how to do this. So give us your top 5 tips on how to avoid embarrassment and how to make the best out of our voices on the stage.
Well, maybe we should start with not overloading the mic, like you said.
Okay, let's start with that.
Yeah, because I think most people, especially people who go to vocal coaching, they have a tendency to sing with a lot of support. So there's a lot of diaphragm work, there's a lot of muscle work, the shoulders go backwards, and actually when you want to sound your best, when acoustically, when you're not amplified, you emphasize the resonance of your voice a lot. And when you sing with a microphone, you need to be a little bit careful of that, because if you blow a lot of air into the microphone, the membranes are so sensitive that you might go into distortion. Distortion sounds like this, a little bit like vocal fry. And then it's a kind of color that will not be able to be picked out of the noise or of the sound of the recording later on. Let's say you're recording something and you go into distortion. You won't be able to remove the distortion from the recording, but rather if you do it softer, you will be able to pump up the gain as you need. So it's actually better to think about singing slightly softer, but I wouldn't say with a lot of air necessarily, because when people think about quiet tones, they think about speaking like this, and rather than belting that sounds like this. So instead of using a lot of pressure with air, I would just put the words closer to the teeth. So speaking, the articulation will be very close to the teeth, and then not really pushing the air forward. And I will demonstrate. So let's say, I love ice cream, right? If I say this sentence with a lot of air, I love ice cream. and it will sound like this. It will overload the mic. And if I say it just with a regular voice and putting the words in front of my teeth, I would say, I love ice cream. You still hear it very clearly, but there's no overloading of the microphone because I used less air.
So you can actually overload the mic, not just when you sing loudly, but also just in general when you sort of like have the best intentions and you want to support and you want to, sort of like deliver or project. You hear a lot that word, project the sound. Then you end up just adding more air and blasting the mic. Instead, you can just have, what you said, like in front of the teeth or forward placement. Some people will call that. You can do that actually. You can do that in many ways, making your voice clearer without the extra effort and the extra air. So do you think that the air addition is what blasts the mic?
It's definitely the air, and specifically with more sensitive mics like condenser microphones. I mean, this is a dynamic microphone that is meant to isolate just the sound of your voice on the stage rather than picking up all the instruments and all the other singers. Mm-hmm. We have the same microphone.
Yeah, it's Shure.
Yeah, 58, SM58, which is kind of an industry standard. Condenser microphone will be way more sensitive to it. And even if there is air touching the membrane by accident, let's say if I hold the microphone like this and I blow air on top of the microphone, if it's a condenser microphone, you will feel it much stronger. And actually, you would lose a beat. The microphone sees it as if it's being attacked. And then there will be like a millisecond where it's not going to record anymore because there's too much air coming in.
Oh my
It's not going to happen much on the dynamic microphone, but it is going to happen on the condenser microphone.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
So, what else? Tip number 2.
An important thing is knowing how to hold the microphone. So you notice that I have a little bit of like an angular placement, but this is for advanced people. I'm going to do first the technique for, the easy learning. So easy learning is about almost 90 degrees in front of your mouth.
Like
and it looks like this. It's almost it's like maybe 80, 85 degrees in front of your mouth.
Okay.
And what you want to do is not put it directly in front of the mouth, but slightly above, in between the nose and the mouth. So what happens if I sing or say any sentence only with a mouth, that's just in front of my mouth, and I'll say, I love ice cream. You have a certain resonance of the voice. It will be like a coloring in the mid section. I would say a lot of mid frequencies. But if I would put it a little bit up, I love ice cream, and I say it in exactly the same way.
I hear that.
You all of a sudden hear that there is a little bit of coloring that is arriving from the nose. So if you want to have the aid of a mixed voice and you don't want to have the effort of blending your voice, you can just simply put the microphone up and it will completely change your voice. So let's test it with singing, right? Give me a song.
Okay. So shall I do something like relatively soft at first?
Yeah. So maybe sing in both ways. Once
so start with the mouth, yeah?
Starting with the mouth and then going slightly towards your nose.
Okay. The Arizona sky burning in your eyes. You look at me and babe, I want to catch on fire.
Okay, so now do the same thing with putting the microphone a little bit higher.
A little bit, like this.
A little bit higher. Yeah, like in between.
Arizona sky, burning in your eyes. You look at me and babe, I want to catch on fire.
That's really good. I really liked especially the second option because it really blends. You can really feel the resonance of the twang, which is really pretty, I think. So now what I do when I put it on the side is basically, it's good for video. Yeah, it's not for performing. I wouldn't do this in a performance. In a video, when I'm only recording speech voice, and I also know what is the natural airflow from my mouth, the natural one, not the one that I will make towards the mic. So then I know that the altitude or multitude, I'm not sure what it's called, like the my mouth will catch all kind of around here. Not everybody has the same placement of the air catching. So with time, you will be able to learn where your airflow goes. And some people only have it here, and some people have it also here. If you notice that Celine Dion is doing it like that, she's holding the microphone like that.
Interesting.
So yeah, it's interesting because she naturally, her airflow goes like to the top for some reason. So if you watch her videos, it's kind of cool. So what you want to do is have the microphone not too close to your mouth, not speaking like this, because it can create distortion and also a lot of harsh what's it called? Harsh consonants, exactly. And you want to avoid, especially B's and P's, into the microphone like that. So slight distance would be better. If you're speaking or singing harder, you can put the microphone a little bit away. So let's say, I love ice cream. Yeah. And then I'm going to take the microphone away. Birds flying high, you know how I feel. In order to control the input into the microphone, you can also play with the distance of the microphone.
Okay.
And again, don't forget that the placement has to be kind of in the middle between the mouth and nose, and kind of angled about 90 degrees, 85 degrees forward, like completely in front of you. So do you want to try that with like a louder part of a song?
Yeah, sure. So we're basically going for what people call belting, like really loud singing. Then definitely I don't want to be this close to the mic, right? That's where we will have problems and people will run away.
Yes. So overloading the microphone when you're belting will be very difficult. I wouldn't do that. So if you're doing the same thing, overloading the microphone when you're belting will not be recommended. So now you saw that it was very different when I put the microphone slightly away from my mouth.
Oh, yeah. So, but there is a limit to how far I can have the microphone from my face, right? So can you just tell me, like, is this okay? Or is
this might be too far away for speaking voice, but if you're belting, there are tones that will be so harsh that you could even put the microphone like 20 centimeters away. But it really depends on how you sing. So let's test it with your voice.
So when I'm all choked up and I can find words. Okay,
so first of all, you took it away in the correct distance, because you were singing much louder than you were speaking. But then I would go a little notch further on the high note.
Okay, so I start here
and then come back. Yeah.
Okay, demonstrate again, because I want to not talk while you're demonstrating.
What are the lyrics?
When I'm all choked up and I can't find the words.
When I'm all choked up and I can't find the words.
Okay. When I'm all choked up and I can find the words.
I would put it a little bit closer to start with.
Okay. Yeah. So when I'm all choked up and I can find the words.
Exactly. Now you controlled it really well, and there wasn't a huge difference in volume when you went into the high belting sound. And that's what we want to create. The microphone is emphasizing everything that we do. So if you overdo it, it will sound much worse. So you want to have the changes slightly more subtle, so you'll be able to kind of control the general ambience. And
awesome. So just to report from my perspective, when I move the microphone a bit further, it feels like a very, very minor change. So that's something that people need to keep in mind. Like when you move it away from you, it cannot be like this. That's too big of a motion, and it would create too big of a distance. And then at some point the mic stops picking you up, right?
Yes, especially if it's a dynamic microphone, it will not pick you up after about 20-25 centimeters anymore, and especially if you sing soft. So make sure that you're able to be heard.
Right. But let me just try and do the belting with too big of a distance.
Okay.
Let's see what
so
that
we'll
does.
demonstrate that.
Yeah. So when I'm all choked up and I can find the words.
So we could still hear you, but it's very distant. It's
Yeah. So it
like,
doesn't create the effect that we want.
no, it's not going to give you a stronger moment in the song like you intended. So what you said is interesting because you said a lot of people will go too far. But what I find mostly with people who just start using the microphone is that they're used to gesturing with both of their hands. So they will continue to gesture with a microphone hand, and then it's going to sound like this when you are all the time gesturing. So actually you don't know exactly what's happening. It's really, you can't hear anything at a certain point because the microphone is just not in front of your face anymore. So I would make sure that the hand that holds the mic is the steady hand, and you're only gesturing with the other hand. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. Let's talk about the soft voices, either speaking or singing really soft, and then also the singing really, really soft. Like if you want to sing with air, like this very airy, whispery voice. How do you do that?
So you would want to be closer to the microphone, but don't really touch it with your mouth, because if you touch it with your mouth, it will sound like there will be some frequencies that will be canceled. You probably can hear it when I speak like that, but I will speak it exactly in the same way when I'm slightly away from the mic. It's pretty close, but it's not really.
Can you go
see
really?
it?
Yeah.
It's like,
Okay.
It's about a finger distance. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And in this way, you can sing softer and still be understood and not overload the microphone. So, hey you, hey you, hey you. This is the close distance with one finger. And if I go really, really close, hey you, hey you, it doesn't sound as good
It's
anymore.
muffled.
Yeah, it's muffled and it has very mid quality. So the high notes, the high tones, the frequencies are completely gone. You have a lot of low and a lot of mid, and it starts sounding like a computer game, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So, okay, to recap, we have super, super soft. That is one finger. And if I'm just normal, normal voice, then it's more like 2 centimeters.
Yeah, maybe 2 fingers.
Yeah, like 2 fingers.
2 fingers.
And then when it's louder, basically it goes louder and louder, but like.
Yeah.
I would
Also, not
would you
only
say that it's
louder,
like
but
one-
also higher notes. So the higher you go, I would say get the microphone slightly further away.
That makes
If you
sense.
sing really low, that you want to have the microphone a little bit closer. Because what happens is the mic picks up the low frequencies better when it's in close proximity, and it picks up the high frequencies better when it's slightly further away. So
Makes sense.
yeah.
Wow.
Another thing that I see a lot in musicians today, especially when they're self-taught. So let's say they work with Ableton, or they download beats and then they sing with the beats, or they rap. Especially with rappers, it can be very prevalent. So what they do is I hold the microphone like this. And then I have this kind of sound that is emanating from the microphone, and you don't really hear the sound of your own voice anymore. Because if I do the same thing with the microphone just held up like this, it's a completely different sound, right? So there are all kinds of different ways to hold the membranes of the microphone, and I've seen a lot of them. People do this, people do this, people do this, and all of them are wrong. I would say don't touch the membrane at all. It will actually deter you from sounding in the best way. Well, unless you want to do an effect. If you are intending to do an effect, no problem, you could do that. But you cannot really control it in the same way.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
If you want to sound like an old radio,
yeah,
then that's the effect.
Yeah, if you want to sound like an old radio, like "Good morning, Vietnam," that kind of effect, you could do that. You can use that technique, but it's not going to help you sing, and it's not going to help you speak. Let's say I say a lot of words really quickly. Let's say if I'm rapping, you can't really understand the words anymore when you do this. You do have an aggressive sound. If you want to get an aggressive sound, you can use it for that purpose in passing. I wouldn't do a full song with it. If you have like a passage in a song that you're recording it, you want to have an aggressive feel, I would do that. Yeah. Instead, what you could do, what are the good placements of the microphone? Like holding the microphone. This is okay. This is okay.
Okay, just
this is okay. So holding it with your fingers for the people who are listening and not watching. Or like wrapping your fist around the microphone is also okay. Any part of the microphone which isn't the membrane and isn't the beginning of the cable is fine. You can go here, you can go this, people do it like this, like wrapping 2 fingers around the microphone instead of the whole hand, because, it does take some strain holding the microphone like this for 90 minutes concert, right? You need to have some muscles in your arms to do this. So you can change. I also sometimes do this because it's much more flexible to move around. I can play also with my wrist and not only with my arm. And sometimes I do this, half fingers. So I'm able to move it around like this if I want to blend the voices easily. But that's a little bit like a game. As long as you don't touch the membrane, and as long as you don't touch the cable, because if you touch the cable, there is a chance it will rattle. And when it rattles, it also has the same problem that it stops recording. Also, you might hear like this kind of sound. I don't know if you hear it now. Well, luckily I have a good cable, but sometimes they get disconnected. It happened to us in a recording. We had like 2 months ago, we done a recording with a choir, and we've done like 4 takes, and none of these takes worked. And we didn't really understand why until we realized the cable was faulty. The cable was broken, so it just didn't come up. And we didn't know why we were missing like notes some here and there. Why is it stopping? And then we replaced the cable and it was fine. So yeah, have spare cables, I would say. Another thing is like with movement is a lot of times people, especially speakers. So like a lot of people that watch this video are not necessarily singers. They speak. It could be also not their profession. Like let's say they're the chairman of a charity and they need to give a speech once in a while. So usually you go up to this desk and there is a microphone on a stand that you didn't adjust yourself and it's not necessarily fitting to your height. So a lot of people will just go on the stage. They'll already feel embarrassed by speaking. So they will just go on the stage, start talking, and not think about the placement of the microphone. And what happens is that the microphone could be here, and during the entire thing, nobody's going to hear you, and they will say, "Speak up!" in the middle of your speech, which is going to ruin your speech. Or sometimes it's like here, so it's in front of your face. Or sometimes it's so close to you that you can't understand anything anymore. Or maybe it's too loud. So you have to kind of pay attention. Let's say if you see that it's not in the right placement, first of all, take 30 seconds to adjust it. You will start from a better place. People will like your speech more. So don't be afraid to adjust it. If the microphone has a button, close the button before you start touching it and adjusting it, because it can make sound while you're adjusting it and it might be very unpleasant. If it doesn't have a button, ask the sound guy, can you mute the microphone for a second while I adjust it? If you need help with adjusting, ask the sound person, can you help me adjust it? And all what you're doing here is you just look more professional. You look like you care about the job you're about to deliver. And this has nothing to deter you from giving your speech. It's the other way around. People think that when they stall for time, they are being perceived as hesitant. But actually, you're being perceived as careful and thoughtful. So I think that's what people would do when they see you, when you care.
That's really good advice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that applies to singers as well. When you take a moment, for example, to get into the character, or like you say, adjust the microphone level, that's the audience sort of like prepares together with you. Like, okay, here we go. They're really prepping. Now we're really getting into it, and it adds to the value of the performance. So I really like that you said that, because a lot of people are indeed afraid of taking the time to set up.
Yeah. And it will change your speech. You want to create the best first impression. And the best first impression is being prepared.
Nice.
And then let's say the microphone is on a stand and you are a very emotional speaker and you move a lot and you want to look at people while you speak. You don't want to just robotically look to the right and look to the front and ignore the rest of the people in the conference room, right? So what I see a lot in speeches, that people will be like this: "Oh, I'm so happy to be here. Welcome everybody. Thank you so much for coming." And then the microphone is not moving together with them. So if the microphone is on a stand and you cannot move it, make sure that the movements of your head are not including your mouth. So what happens? You can gesture with your head like this. "Thank you for coming. Thank you all for coming," and gesture to the left with your hand. You don't have to do it with your entire face. So that would really help keep your mouth in place. And then if you are able to take the microphone away from the stand, mute it or press the button, remove it from the stand, turn it on again. Don't forget that. And then you can gesture to everyone when you take the microphone with you. Like when you are gesturing, then your hand is accompanying your mouth. It doesn't matter what you're going to do. The hand follows the mouth, and not like this, "No, thank you for coming. I'm so happy to be here." And it's not going to work, right? So make sure that, let's say that your hand is your AI sensor. It's just moving around with your face wherever you go.
That's a good one. Yeah. So in the same way, some people are playing, an instrument and singing at the same time. They could be like looking to the guitar exactly at the end of the phrase, and then there's no we don't hear the last word. So it's the same principle. How about, if you're turning your head, can you turn your head and just sort of like go around the mic? Can I do like something like this and then something like this?
Yeah, the microphone will still pick you up here. This is also why I do this on video a lot.
Yeah.
Because it keeps my face centered. There's nothing obstructing my face. One of the worst things with doing videos all the time is that you don't see your mouth. And then, so this is very helpful for doing videos, or this, at least, still obstructing part of your body, but at least not obstructing your mouth. Mm-hmm. But when you sing is something different, because you want to be able to create a lot of nuance. So there's not a lot of escape from putting the mic pretty close or in front of your mouth. Yeah. So I mentioned it already before about the putting the vowels and the consonants in the front of your mouth. But then I hear that a lot of people exaggerate it, and they will do something like this, talking a lot with a P and a K and the and this will be a lot of areas in the microphone. So I would recommend to pronounce your B's and your P's not in the front of your lips like this, B or B. I would do B. So I'm actually pronouncing them with the back part of my lips. I don't know if you can see it in the video. B and P. So not B and P. Yeah.
So you're involving less of the lips.
Yeah. So I'm not pressing the entire lip down. I'm just doing it with the back of the lip. B, B. Yeah. And that's releasing less air into the microphone, and it creates less interference.
Yeah, that's a good one. So that's something that people should practice at home. Even without the mic, you can start practicing this. You just take the lyrics that you have and realize, where do I have all the explosives, right?
Yeah.
The B and correct. The P and the T and the D, and learn how to do those.
And the S.
And the S. Okay, so how do you do the T and the D and the S?
So it's the same. I would do them a little bit back in the mouth. So T will not be T, but T, like a little bit in the back.
T,
and
T.
D will not
D.
not be D, but D, a little bit before, a little bit more to
So
the
with
back.
the tip
And
of the
S,
tongue more to the back.
the tip of the tongue is more to the back. And the S will be slightly more soft and also slightly more of an SH sound. Sound. So it's not S, but S. So the tongue is actually more open. And when it touches the palate, it creates more distance between the tongue, and it's wide and flat and not so close to the palate as it is as it would be with a regular S, which will be like a snake tongue, like touching the top of your palate.
So like a softer tongue.
A softer S. And in the back, it's a little bit more to the back, and the tongue is a little bit more flat.
Great.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I think we have a lot to practice. So
Yeah, I think so too.
thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Yeah, you too. And it's invaluable, the tips that you're giving. I hope that all the singers and the aspiring singers and all the speakers are going to take it to heart and start upgrading their performances.
Yeah, and if you have any questions, or if you want to say like, hey, I've used your tips and stuff, feel free to reach out. I'm on Instagram or Facebook, and I have a website. So at Nani Vazana or nanimusic.com.
Yeah, for sure. Go visit that, especially nanimusic.com, because there's always something interesting there, like a new album or, great performances everywhere. So go visit
nanimusic.com.
nanimusic.com, and we'll put it, of course, in the description.
Yeah, and come to a show. I mean, that's the best.
Of course. Yeah. Go to all of the shows. Thank you so much. I love you.
Love you too. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.